Pillars for an excellent marriage. Today we look at purpose of marriage. Why do people marry? Why can't people live a single life and be okay? Why is it that marriage is the main prayer in the sanctuaries? By the way, why did God start the marriage? Because the marriage originated with God. So there must be a purpose for marriage. And that number one is companionship. If you go to Genesis 2, the Bible says very briefly that but for Adam no suitable helper was found. If you read there, Adam was lonely. So key number one that makes people enter into marriage is companionship. You want a person of the opposite gender for companion. You know, you need that helping hand. Number two is procreation. The purpose of the marriage, procreation. That is why the Lord said in Genesis 1 and verse 27, be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth. One of the major purposes of the marriage is procreation, continuing the creation journey where God reached us. We now, that's why notice, we reproduce our own kind. If you look at my children, they have a nature or a form of me that is procreating self, and we have a likeness in the image of God. Number three is reflection of God's image. Why do we marry? Because marriage is where the image of God is properly reflected. In Genesis 1 and verse 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. So when a male and a female come together on a marriage bed, what they produce is called the image of God. Beyond the child, because a married husband and a married wife have some moment of togetherness. What do they reproduce? It's called the reflection of God's image. When you bring masculinity and feminism together, the combination of the two energies produces the image of God. Just like you bring the sperm and the ovary together, they produce a child. So masculinity energy and feminism energy, when you bring them together, they produce the image of God. And that is why that one, reflection of God's image, that is the single reason why Satan with all his cohorts fight marriage with zeal that cannot be explained. Number four is spiritual growth. In marriage, during the conjugal activities, there is exchange of energies. If you go to the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter number 7, Paul said that the believing husband has set free or has consecrated his unbelieving wife, and a believing wife has sanctified his unbelieving husband. That is 1 Corinthians 7 and verse 14. For the unbelieving husband has been sanctified through his wife, and the unbelieving wife has been sanctified through her believing husband. Otherwise, the children would be ungodly, unclean, but as they are, they are holy. So one of the need for marriage is spiritual growth. Yes. Spiritual harnessing of each other. That is why notice If you marry wrong, you spiritually drain. You spiritually drain so much. If you marry right, spiritually you grow. That's why you notice you can marry a person and come to discover, higher, I was a man of God, or I was a woman of God. But before you married, or you're in the wrong marriage, you are just there. So marriage is also very good for spiritual growth, praying for each other, pursuing God together. Something else is covenant of faithfulness. Why do we need marriage? Is to come up with a covenant of faithfulness. Remember, in this world, if you look at Luke chapter number 16, Jesus said, if you cannot be trustworthy with someone else's property, no one can trust you with the property of your own. And then he said, if you cannot be trustworthy with little and all that, and that was a test of faithfulness. And God tests faithfulness in two ways: through our offering and tithes, and also through marital fidelity. And you cannot walk with God outside faithfulness. So one of the areas where faithfulness is tested and proven is in the marriage. So covenant of faithfulness. That is why when you're not married, you can be wicked as you want. Although at the end of the eight you repay, and you repay a lot of pain. But in the marriage, you can be able to function in faithfulness successfully. Something else, marriage, one of the purposes of the marriage is it pictures the relationship of Christ and the church. If you see a marriage that is in the doctrine of God, it is picturing the relationship of Christ and the church. That is why you hear the Bible defending marriage very much. That's why you hear the Bible in the book of Paul, in the book of Ephesians, and even in Colossians, and also even in 1 Peter 3. They are speaking in details about the marriage. And especially the case of Ephesians 5, Paul 5 verse 22 to the end, Paul is explaining the marriage, pointing to Christ and the church. That is why marriage is very important. So when the marriage is wrong, it paints the relationship of the world and the Satan. So also another reason why marriage is needed is foundation of a family, of a new family unit. You cannot start a new family unit without a marriage. Like me, I have the family unit of Joel's family. You get that? That unit cannot start. The one we call nuclear family. Even if we shall do adoption, even if we shall do, I don't know that marriage the way it is called, whereby a single father has children and a single mother has children, and they come together, they bring their children together, they bring them up together. At the end of the day, marriage is the genesis of a new family unit. Without the marriage, you can't say you have a family. Something else why we need the marriage is protection against sexual immorality. We said that. Protection against sexual immorality. That is 1 Corinthians 7 and verse 5. Do not deprive each other except by mutual consent and for a time, so that you can devote yourselves to prayer. Then come together again so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. If you read up there, he had said, verse 3, you should have each one, you should get married, because there is a lot of immoralities in the word. Verse 1, verse 2, but since there is so much immorality, each man should have his own wife, and each woman should have her own husband. Protection against sexual immorality. That one is mutual love and respect. For mutual love and respect. And number 10 is building a God-honoring society. Marriage is used for building a God-honoring society.